Welcome to our third season of Courageous Healing. I am the producer and co-host, Victor Escalante, and joining me in the studio is Adele George. Adele, welcome to third season.
I am so excited to be back doing this for our third season. I can't believe this is third season, episode 1.
Flew by.
It did. Oh my God. And so much has happened since we started this. We started it because the book has come out.
Right.
And now we're and we've had so much amazing feedback from, all of our listeners, information and things that they've taken from from the book and from the podcast. I'm just super proud of what we're doing. So I'm so excited to be here.
And you're coming to Houston for book signing and speaking tour.
Yes, I can't wait. I will be in Houston the week of February 23rd. That's Monday. I will be there the whole week. We do have some stuff booked on Tuesday, so keep an eye out on our Facebook page.
Yes.
For all the details and all the invites, and continue to watch the Facebook page because that's where all the announcements are. We're still finalizing some stuff at the point of recording this. So.
Yeah, I'll also put that in the show notes, listeners. The location where Adele will be speaking, where you can come meet her, hear her in person, meet her, and get your signed copy of Courageous Healing book.
I'm so thrilled to be able to head out there. I can't wait. It's been something I've been trying to do, but life's, and now I'm going to do it now. And, I'm coming now, and the plan is to come back again once or twice more later in the year. But for right now, make sure to catch me while I'm there.
And I'm breaking ground for you in San Antonio because the week before, I will be in San Antonio doing a book signing and gathering clients that I'm sure will want to have you come to San Antonio, hear you speak, and do a book signing yourself. So
Absolutely.
We got a lot of things in the works. So Adele, what are we going to talk about today?
I really want to sit down and talk about the fact that we know that all the Epstein files and all this stuff is in the news. We've also seen some violence that has happened, some videos I won't really mention. I don't want to give mention to all of that stuff in particular, but we know that we've seen videos of some severe violence and shootings in the past few weeks. And it's the thing that's been heavy on my mind, and that we've had this conversation multiple times, you and I, but I think it's really important to reiterate, at least in kicking off season 1, especially right now, in just season 3, episode 1, is just that with all of the release of all the paperwork from the Epstein files and these videos that are out there, just remember, guys, to take care of yourself in the process. A few tips that we've talked about before. Hide, unfriend, unfollow things that are not feeding your soul and making you happy on social media. You can, on Facebook, you can permanently unfollow people if you don't want to unfriend them. And just clean up your algorithm in ways of finding things that are funny and so that you're not doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is a real thing, but you can also, I don't want to stigmatize spending 2 hours on your phone looking at videos on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, because you truly can do it and it can bring you joy. You just have to find the funny stuff, and you have to find the entertaining stuff and the stuff that's informative in the way that you want. But the other thing, listeners, is you can turn it off. Victor and I if you can't give yourself permission, Victor and I are giving you permission. You can turn it off. You can shut it down. You don't have to go digging for every little piece of information if this information is traumatizing you or upsetting you.
If it's triggering you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I stopped watching and consuming all legacy media because it's a cesspool out there. And again, it does nothing for the mind and the soul.
No, it doesn't. The information is out there, and the information can be pretty easy to find if you want to look it up, but you don't have to. There's enough information floating around to where you can get the gist of what's going on. unless you're an activist or you're someone who wants to be deeply involved. And again, even if you are, please take care of yourself.
Even activists, Adele, I know I've met some reporters that even reporters who have to do this for a living, when they are having to consume a lot of this, they end up suffering from a form of PTSD as
Yep.
well as compassion fatigue syndrome because you can't stop feeling for the victims of the horrific things that they were put through.
Yeah. Yeah. And right now, the most important thing is for you listeners to have your wits about you, is to really continue to keep your mind clear and to keep your ears open and your eyes open, but you don't have to do it at the expense of your mental health. This in where we live in an age where information is easy to find, but you also have to have discernment. Because the other thing that, Victor and I did an episode, a few episodes back in season 2, we did an episode where we talked about bots and we talked about a lot of times when you're arguing with someone on the internet, it's not an actual human being that you're arguing with. You're actually arguing with a computer. And that feeds what the computer then turns around and spits out more information. So it continues to burn and churn. If you're going to get in an argument with somebody, tell them to call you. If you're going to have this discussion in person. Don't have this discussion, online, and don't put your safety at risk. But keep in mind that there's a lot of fake information out there. There's fake photographs, there's fake lists, there's fake images of, right now, look at this week, everybody's doing chat GPT images of themselves. It's easy for people to generate fake images and you can't tell. There are some people out there, and Victor, that's one of the things maybe we'll do next time. We'll do some research on how to tell what's a fake photo because there's a lot of people out there that are talking about it. We just have to get the information. What's a fake video? What's in all this stuff so that we can inform our listeners?
AI specialist that I'm gonna talk to see if we can get him on interview because I'm sure he will be able to tell us how to tell fake content.
That would be really great. I think that would be wonderful because I think our listeners would truly appreciate it. Because the big thing is that there's a lot of with the Epstein files, with all of this stuff, there's a lot of fake videos out there.
Yes.
So, and there's a lot of fake images, there's a lot of fake paperwork, and you have to know the difference. And so that's why it's like discernment is important and really truly coming from a neutral perspective and understanding whatever it is that you're reading. If you're coming with bias, then sometimes you're often feeding your bias. So, I really think that, we don't want to in order to navigate this tumultuous times,
Sure.
no matter which side the aisle that you're on,
Right.
in order to keep clear thinking, the first step is to take care of yourself. And the second step is to probably turn off. You know what? Here's a simple solution. And I actually have a friend of mine that does this. She's literally turned off her notifications on her phone, all notifications.
I don't need distractions to take away my attention from focus during the day. Yeah. Adele,
So,
I want to ask you, you're no longer affected by this sort of stuff, but were you at one time with bad news of violence, of anything that was domestic violence related?
yes, I definitely can say that at one point, when I used to read news reports about like someone getting murdered or like a murder suicide or something along those lines, I used to get really angry
Okay.
because I used to really feel very angry that there's nothing that I could have done to stop that person from dying
Right.
or from getting harmed. Or, when a friend of mine would reach out to me and say that, their best friend's cousin got, murdered by her boyfriend or got put in the hospital, or I get some other traumatizing story. Or you just see it in the news, like you said, really at one point I used to get angry about it because it was very difficult. I wanted to be the last person that had ever experienced this sort of trauma. And, knowing that I'm not, it would make me really angry.
How long would it take you to return to homeostasis? Listeners, homeostasis is returning to that calm, to that balance of mind, body, and spirit. How long would it take you after you were triggered?
As my healing got better and as my mental self-awareness got better, it really wasn't something that I clung to. But at first, I can tell you right now, at first it was definitely like, a day, 2 days, and especially if it was something that was really prominent in the news and in my face. But I can tell you that I would really rather not get angry about it, but use it as more of a motivator to continue to do the advocacy work that I'm doing.
You're listening to Courageous Healing Podcast. We'll be right back.
Big news! The inspiring book Courageous Healing is now available in print, ebook, and audiobook. No matter how you like to read or listen, you can now experience the powerful story and life-changing insights inside this book. Don't wait. Start your journey of healing and transformation today. Order your copy now and take the first step toward your courageous healing.
We now return you to the Courageous Healing Podcast.
And it was a form of PTSD for you because it was triggering your unprocessed emotions as well as your memories.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, it was something that was very difficult for me. Sometimes it would take me back to where to something I experienced, especially if it was similar.
Sure.
Hostage situations, whenever I hear about a hostage situation, those do still take me back. I just don't have the emotional ties to it. But you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because it is something you have to be aware of in your healing journey. Things like this happen. You don't heal in a sanitized world.
Right.
It's not linear. It's not a straight line. You're going to encounter things that are going to cause you to feel like you're backsliding when you're really not, but it can feel that way.
How long would you say that it took you before you were neutralized to where obviously you were proactive in your experience? How many years would you say that your brain was able to rewire itself to where you were no longer triggered?
Probably a good 10 years
Okay.
at least, at
Yeah.
least. And to this day, there's like movies where all of a sudden violence will come out of nowhere. I don't fall into like my nervous system gets rocked, but now my nervous system knows it's safe and it's okay.
Yes.
But like if I watched a movie where there was some sort of domestic violence or some sort of violent situation, a shooting, just a simple shooting, because every action movie has some sort of shooting.
Sure.
Well, I would jump. I would flinch. I would flinch. My body just flinched. It was just sort of this thing where I would just jump and flinch. So I would say for me, for it to finally be something that was very neutral, definitely it took me about 10 years.
Yeah.
That was the tail end of like that sort of move through PTSD, for lack of a
Right.
better way of describing it.
Yeah. So, Adele, why don't you give us a preview of what you're going to be talking about when you come to Houston?
Um, you know, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna give everybody a little bit of a snapshot of what I've been through. They can obviously read the book and they'll find out more. But really what I'm gonna do is just sit down and talk about my healing journey. And I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about what I did to get to the point that I'm at. But also, Victor, I want this to be a panel discussion. I want people to ask me questions.
Okay.
Where are they, if they're struggling in their healing journey or if they're struggling with something that has to do with domestic violence or they just want some information. I want them to be able to ask those questions so that way we can sit down and have an open discussion. So one of the things is that I want to one of my goals is that I want to be there for other people and supporting other people and encouraging other people on their healing journey. I mean,
Sure.
that's why we wrote the book the way that we did.
Exactly.
So I want people to have the opportunity to ask us questions. Now, we're not therapists and we're not there to give therapy, but we're definitely there to inspire, and to motivate and to give people hope. And that's really what I want people to walk away from it, from the event feeling. I don't want them to come to the event. I don't want them to be afraid to come to the event because it's going to be a conversation about an extensive conversation about my domestic violence experience.
It's not going to be a male bashing meeting. This
Not
is
at all.
going to be a very honest, very forthright discussion of your journey and what you've encountered along the way. And of course, we can give the attendees lots of tips, lots of hacks
Yep.
that they can start to use in their healing journey.
Absolutely. And encourage people if they are on their healing journey. I think it's important. And you know what, Victor, it's interesting. In the past couple of weeks, I've talked to some people and they love that when we talk about the healing process, we call it a journey because people who are truly in the middle of it acknowledge that that's what it is. And so, and they understand that a lot better. So I want people to have the opportunity to talk to us.
Yeah, actually, you had someone locally also here in Houston describe the words that we use as a journey, as a healing journey, as very, very spot on because it is a journey. It's not just onesie twosie and you're well. It is a journey that each one is an individual, unique case that only time will tell. And whatever you do in order to heal from your past.
Exactly. And so we want and one like we've said in a lot of our other episodes, there's a multitude of ways to take your healing journey and there's a multitude of ways to do the things that you do.
Right.
So to start to feel better about yourself. And again, that's why we were just sitting down talking about ways for you to shut off your social media or to shut yourself out of all of the stuff that's going on. We don't want you to go and hide in a corner and turn the TV off and turn your phone off and not and completely shut yourself off. We want you to exist in the world, but you have the right to be able to speak up and say, I don't want to talk about this, you know? And if you're in a conversation with friends and if they want to continue to talk about it, you can walk away, you know? And in the same instances to what I'm going to be talking about, this is going to be where we're going to be sitting down having this conversation, but it's also going to be a panel discussion. We're going to be sitting down at a table in front of you at your eye level and we're going to sit down and have this conversation. And we want you to ask questions. We want you to come with questions.
Absolutely. And there was something else I wanted to say to listeners. Let's go ahead and give them the details. So on Tuesday, I'll give you the date. Let me look that up for you. February 24th. That's a Tuesday. Adele is going to be speaking and doing a book signing at now that's a closed event at the women's shelter that you're speaking at.
Yes, we're gonna be speaking at a women's shelter. We're actually trying to get in another one. And I know that these shelters are pretty private, so we'll hold back on the names of who they are.
Yes.
But we are going to be meeting with one shelter and we actually are working to try to meet at another one. So if you happen to hear this and you're in Houston and you have a connection with a shelter or organization
Yeah.
that works, let us know. We'll be happy to come out and talk to you.
Yes. And the event open to the public. This will be the very first public book signing in Houston. Will be on the 24th. I will have the information in the show notes, listeners, but the address is 2800 Antoine, and it's real easy to get to. I selected that location because it's easy to get on and off 290 to the facility, and it's going to be, I'll give you the suite. And again, that's going to be on the show notes so that you can look it up. So you attend. The suite is 2864. 2800 Antoine, suite 2864. And of course, you can write to us. We'll have that in the show notes. And if you want to reach out to me personally here in the Houston area, if you would like to participate or need more information, or you would like to have Adele come speak to one of your groups, by all means, contact me and I'll make sure that gets set up.
Yes. I would absolutely love to come and talk to anybody who wants to have me there. I love to talk. So, and I love to talk about this subject. This subject is really important to me, and I want to be able to sit down and talk about it as much as possible. So, anything that we can do to talk about it is what we're going to do and what we're happy to do. So, please invite us, and we're going to be happy to show up.
That's right. Well, what do you think, Adele? Is that enough show?
I think it's enough show for today, Victor.
All right, listeners, well, we're going to have to leave it there. Until next time, have a great week.